Hi, welcome to the Nitty Gritty of Real Estate podcast. Today we are talking about how to avoid foreclosure. Let's go ahead and get started. Tom, we're here today to talk a little bit about foreclosure, what that means, and honestly, really how to avoid it. A lot of people, at least I'm hearing, are saying they're waiting for this market to crash. And we're saying that that's not what we're going to see happening. However, they've probably heard a lot about homeowners having gone into forbearance. What does that mean exactly?
What I'd like to share with you, number one, is one of the best things that I see in the marketplace is that we are not going to have a crash. So people who have built up equity over time will not lose that equity because of things the banks have done or the politicians have done, or nobody used their home really like an ATM machine and kept refinancing. What a lot of people don't realize is that about 43% of all the homes that are owned in America have no mortgage on them. Yeah, versus what was happening in like 2006, 7, 8, okay? So that's a nice cushion. And then of the remaining 57%, about 61 or 62% of that is owners who have a 50% equity in their home, meaning that if their home dropped by 50%, they'd be at the amount of money that they have borrowed against the home, okay? So the good news is that we don't see the market collapsing, all right? Now, if you were part of the forbearance program, which is what the government instituted a while back because of COVID to help people who maybe were displaced by restaurants shutting down and lumber mills shutting down, yada yada yada, and they didn't have any income coming in or not enough significant income coming in to make their payments. They did not want the pressure on the real estate market, so they created a law. And it was more, it was a law, but it was almost like an executive order where people didn't necessarily have to make their mortgage payment, and the bank necessarily couldn't foreclose on them and kick them out of the house. So the forbearance program worked in such a manner that people weren't making the mortgage payments, but that doesn't mean they weren't responsible for the underlying balance. Okay. So now that moratorium has ended a month and a half ago, and now what we're starting to see is people going, okay, I haven't made my mortgage payment in 18 months or 12 months or 14 months or 16 months. Is the bank going to come and kick me out of my house? Well, the good news on that is no, they're not going to. And the good news is that the government and the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau said that the banks have to offer you a recasting of your loan, which means that you take all of your back payments and add it onto the back end of the note, and you start today with the next payment. So if you miss 12 payments, you would just go another 12 months longer than originally had. Okay. So that's one way. And that's, to me, that's the smartest way. Okay. Now, let's say that an individual who doesn't have a job yet, he's still out of work. Okay. He was in an industry that like the restaurant industry. He's not making enough money. So what could they do? Well, if they're fortunate enough to have enough equity in her house, and we all know, homes all over the area. Now, Barron's just reported last week that the Tucson market, which we're in, increased by 39%. That's what Barron said. It was amazing, right? So, if your house is increased by 39%, you shouldn't be back-ended in your house. So you should be able to put your house up on the market and sell it and walk away with some cash, maybe get your financial life in order with your job and everything, and then come back later on and use that money to put a down payment to buy another house. So that's one way of doing it outside of the recasting or the loan modification. Okay. Another way would be to do a potential short sale. So let's say you're one of those people that, you got one of the government loans and like a FHA loan, you put 3.5% down. But then during the pandemic, you were refinancing and pulling money out, and now with the cost of selling your home being greater and the amount you owe will be greater than what you're going to get the home sold for, you may want to do a short sale. Now, I think those are going to be really rare. There's not going to be a lot of those out there, although there's a lot of hysteria out there, Chicken Little, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. We don't see that. Modification back in May of 2020 was about 8.5% of all loans were in modification. Well, as of August of 2021, that's down to 3.25%. So you can see it's gradually dropping down because people are either getting back to work or they're saying, okay, we haven't had to make any payments, so we're able to get our financial house in order, getting the government stimulus checks and all of that, the cash that was thrown into the economy. They were able to utilize that to maybe pay off some underlying debt, like some credit card debt, or maybe they sold their used car and got good money for it and then bought a cheaper used car. I mean, there's all kinds of things that could have happened, right? But what we're starting to see is less people are relying on that forbearance. And now that it's been eliminated, they can't rely on it. Right?
So when you were saying they were in modification, like 8.5%, you're saying that they were in forbearance, they weren't making payments, and now of those, we're down to only 3% of them?
Correct. So it's been cut in half.
It's been, easily cut in half. So that means people are getting back in the market as far as jobs go. They're catching up on their bills. They're making their mortgage payments. And then likely a lot of them have done what you said, where they just recast the loan and they've added those missed payments to the end. So they're safe in their homes right now.
Exactly. And I'm interested because I think a bunch of those people also sold their homes. They saw the crazy, equity position they were getting in their house. I mean, imagine if you had a $500,000 house and it went up 38%.
Yeah.
Right? That's $190,000 of cash. A lot of people look at that and go,
jumped at that opportunity.
$190,000. I'll take that money now and live frugally in a rental, right? And pay my bills off and then keep that money on the side or reinvest it.
Right. And just kind of, like you said, take a minute, kind of reset. Yep. And be ready to jump back in then when things are settled more for you personally.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, again, we don't see a large potential of short sales, but they will be out there. And obviously, if you're in Tucson or anywhere else in the marketplace, talk with a real estate agent.
Right.
Have a real estate agent come out and maybe give you what they believe is an analysis of the value of your home, and then work with you on your equity position and maybe some ways that you could be advised how to proceed forward versus just automatically thinking you've got to sell your house for a loss. It's not necessarily true. Hey everyone, we want to interrupt this episode to let you know that we are a Keller Williams Southern Arizona franchise.
Also, we are licensed realtors practicing equal housing.
Now let's get you back to the podcast. Okay.
So it's going to be key to, like you said, we're here in Tucson. Certainly reach out to us. But if they are somewhere else in the country listening to us today,
give us a call.
We have a lot of different agents in other areas that we can set you up with that will be knowledgeable on your local market. But yeah, definitely important to get an expert out there and give you an opinion and help you set up a plan.
Yep.
All right.
And then the last one is just sell your house.
Yeah.
Right? So we talked about getting the agent out there. So if you're in Tucson, you can give us a call. If not, if you're not unsure of an agent and you're outside of Tucson, you're in Biloxi, Mississippi, give us a call. We've got agents there too that we know. But sit down with a real estate agent, find out what the value you have in your house as far as an equity position is, and then put together a game plan. I think before anybody takes action on this, they should sit down with somebody qualified, put together a reasonable game plan, because I've had several people that I've talked to that were tenants and saying, my landlord owner is going to sell the property and I'm wondering if I could buy it. And I've sat down and talked with them and put them in touch with a lender, and it's like, lo and behold, they can buy it. And you know what? The seller's willing to take back some paper on it because they own it free and clear.
Oh,
now imagine that.
That would be a great situation for somebody.
So now they've got almost like an annuity payment.
Right.
The buyer, who is the tenant, doesn't have to move out, and it's a win-win situation in that scenario. And that's not, again, it's not for everybody, but it definitely is something that if you talk with a seasoned real estate agent, you should be able to figure these plans out and these businesses out where everybody can win. That doesn't have to be a win-lose.
Right. No, the goal, I think, really is, at least for us, always create a win-win.
Yep.
You want both sides to walk away happy. So Okay. Well, thank you for joining us today and giving us some explanation on this forbearance and foreclosure and honestly some options that I think a lot of people don't realize are out there for them.
Yeah, well, they're out there. Just get in touch with us if you need to, okay?
Absolutely.
And until our next broadcast,
Thank you for joining us.
Hey, thank you for listening and watching the Nitty Gritty podcast here with the Tom J. Krieger team. If you are thinking about buying a home, selling a home, or even investing in real estate, please reach out to us. We are local here in Tucson, Arizona, but we are also connected to over 4,000 agents across the US. So again, looking to buy, sell, or invest in your hometown, reach out to us and let us connect you.